Hello. Hello. Welcome to Tuesday Tea Break. I'm Dr. Sasheen, your sometimes host, well, all the time host. Um, there we go. Welcome to Tuesday, where we get together and we just hang out for just a little bit of time, taking a break from the world because the world be worldin', life be lifing, and people be peoplein'. And so, to give ourselves a break from some of that, we get together for approximately 30 minutes and we have a little tea. I call it the tea break, but today we're having a smoothie because a smoothie break is just as important. The goal here is to spend some time enjoying the not drama that life can be, as opposed to the constant state of drama that seems to be the thing that's um, powering a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of moments right now. So, welcome to the Tuesday Tea Break. If you come in late, say hello. If you catch the replay, say hello. And let me know that you're here. Because again, the goal is to give you a place to just inhale, exhale, and relief. A little bit of relief. So, as I said, normally it's a tea break, but today it's a smoothie break because I finished my workout too close to tea break, so I didn't get a chance to actually finish my smoothie. So it'll be smoothieing with me. So, what are you all up to this week? It's only Tuesday. Feels like Tuesdays are becoming the new Monday, but it feels like every day is the new Monday because when we wake up, so many things are happening. And so this week on the Tuesday Tea Break, I really want to talk about what you're leaning into in terms of the next season of your life. Last week, I dropped a post. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, Women in Transition, even if you're not a woman, there's still some good nuggets out there that could help you. But if you caught my post last week, because the nice thing about YouTube is it has a post tab that I kind of treat like a little blog. So if you ever want to just kind of get some daily updates or inspiration and you just need something to read and you don't have time for video and you're just scrolling, go check out the posts, the community post tab, and talk to me there. But I posted that we have crossed over the threshold into the Lunar New Year. I talked about this last week as well. And if you follow me for a while, you know that around the first of the year, I was pretty clear to not make a bunch of plans. And I didn't get into really why you didn't really need to make a bunch of plans. I'm not much of a New Year's January 1st kind of girl, but I was very specific from December to January. Like, this is not the time to make any big plans. Just not the time to make any super duper big plans. And a lot of people kept saying that the energy felt so unsettled still. Like, I don't know if you're active on other platforms, if you get on Threads or X or whatever, but in January, a lot of people kept saying, did January not get the memo? Did 2026 not get the memo from 2025? Because it still feels a lot like 2025. But one of the things that I've been saying since pretty much December, mid-December, is do not do anything in January. Don't make any resolutions, major plans, major life decisions. And that was because I follow a different calendar. And I knew that January was going to feel a whole lot like December in terms of the the flipping over of the new year into new energy. And that it was just going to be hard and icky and upsetting. And like we're running into a brick wall, right? So I knew that the change was coming, that there was going to be a shift. And lo and behold, big old shift. Now, for those of you who's like, well, I'm not really into the energy thing. You don't have to be. Let me explain it to you from scientific perspective. So, um, the Lunar New Year, which is what I was waiting for before I start telling people, okay, now, now you want to get out there and start making some plans and working some plans if you had them kind of sitting in your pocket, right? Um, but let me just give it to you from a cosmological perspective. Thank you, Neil deGrasse Tyson and all the other people who study the cosmos. We are now in the waning days of the season, the seasonal cycle, right? So if you're in the northern hemisphere, right around mid-February, things begin to shift. Days starts to get longer. If you follow, like I have a bunch of apps on my phone that track things like daylight hours. And if you notice, the days are getting longer. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you notice that the days are starting to get progressively shorter. So if you want to take the Lunar New Year aspect of energy off the table, let's just look at what's happening cosmologically. The planet itself is in shift mode. We're in the waning days of winter, or we're in the waning days of summer. So as we march towards the equinox, the vernal equinox, in the northern hemisphere, which is the day of equal day and night, does it not make more sense to now begin to think about what plans you're going to put into place for the next 365 days? Because as we leave the dark night of winter and leave behind the energy of hibernation and pulling down and drawing back, we begin to move towards the energy of planting, the energy of tilling, the energy of rooting and seeing what we need to do to make our next 365, right? Make our next 365 good and ripe and ready for the harvest of the fall. So even if you don't follow a calendar perspective for energy or guidance, just follow the cosmos. Like the natural rhythms of the planet are a really good way to plan your year. They don't really change. No matter what mankind does on the planet keeps going through its cycles. And so on January 1st, as I like to point out, it's an arbitrary date that we picked or they picked way back in the day, right? As a way to start the new year. Um, but um astronomy wise, and if you're into astrology wise, it doesn't make any sense for planning. Literally, it doesn't make any sense for planning. It doesn't make any sense if you're a farmer. It doesn't make any sense if you're into astrology. It doesn't make any sense, right? So what does make sense are following the rhythms of the world, the rhythms of the actual natural world. So as I said in the post on my YouTube channel, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and like and share. But as I had said, now is a good time to start planning. So, what are you getting excited to potentially plan? Now, here's what I want to point out because somebody is going to pop into my comments. Somebody is going to pop into my comments and say, Dr. Sasheen, listen, the world is worlding. How can you be asking me what kind of plans I'm going to make? Because the world is always worlding. Part of my audience that I specifically talk to are Gen X generation. We have lived, whew, we have lived through the world worlding many times. And most of us are students of history, and we understand that nations rise and they fall, and they rise and they fall, and they rise. And under the cycle of the rise and the fall are people who still have to move forward. I was reading a quote just the other day. I was reading a book the other day, and one of the quotes that stood out to me was, "It's it's it's fine to talk about getting to the future, but you still have to get through the moment. You still got to get through the moment." And we like to talk about being future focused, and I am going to talk a little about being future focused today. But we also have to survive what's happening in the moment, and part of those plans also could be where you need to start, right? Like if you're being buffeted like crazy, which all of us are with the things outside of this current little bubble that we're standing in that I'm going to keep us in. If you're feeling like you need to address, no, I don't. If you watch my channel, I'm not apolitical. Go watch any of my other videos where I talk about all kinds of things in relation to living your next best chapter, and some of that is recognized in the chapter that we're in. But in this space, where I'm asking you to breathe and release, and breathe and release. In this moment, what I'm asking you to do is lean into what you want to have happen in your life next, not what you want to see happen on the global stage. That is for another moment. This moment, what do you want to see happen now that the energy is shifting? Now that the Lunar New Year was February 17th, and so now the momentum of the next season is building every single day. So, what is it that you're going to do to harness the energy of this season so that by the time summer energy starts to build its momentum, right? As we start sliding down towards summer, where we're in the heat of in the northern hemisphere. Sorry, you winter guys down there in the southern hemisphere. Sorry. But as the summer comes and we start getting to work, right? This vernal energy, this springtime energy is about putting those seeds in the ground. putting them in the ground so that by the time summer gets here, we can put in the work to make sure that they're growing and they're thriving and they're budding like they're supposed to. That may be a gardening reference, but that is what I'm talking about when I say it's time to lean into your plans. What are you ready to put into the ground? What is it time to start cultivating, germinating for my gardeners out there? What is it time to start germinating from seed to um um from seed to seedling, right? Where there are roots that you can actually plant into something. And it's now where I want you to do that. So I know I've been saying, hold off, hold off, hold off, but I was always very strategic in that. Hold off, hold off, hold off. Okay. So the second thing I think is really important for this time of year that we can lean into is thinking about what is it that in 365 days from February 17th. That's where we're going to start. Okay, so February 17th was the first day of Lunar New Year. Welcome to the year of the fire horse. Again, feel free to go read my comment about it on the post. And trust me, there's a lot of talk about it because it's a huge shift from the snake energy of 2026 into the fire horse energy of 20, or excuse me, the snake of 2025 into the fire horse energy of 2026. So, but now that we are in the planning phase, a lot of people are probably asking, but what am I supposed to do with myself? What am I supposed to do with myself? And that question is, good morning, Michelle. And that the answer to that question is, well, what do you want to do with yourself? Do with yourself. What is it? I have a quote here from one of my favorite writers. And it says, this is from Stephen King. I wrote it down, y'all, so that I would not forget it because it's that important. It says, now comes the big question. What are you going to write about? You can substitute write for anything. And the equally big answer, anything you damn well want. So the question that you might have is, what am I supposed to do with myself for the next 365? And the answer is anything you damn well want. What do you want? It is so easy to stop thinking about what we could do, how we could dream forward, especially when it feels like all dreams are on hold right now. All dreams are on hold. Well, we don't believe that here at Women in Transition. We don't buy into the concept that dreams have to go on hold because the world is worlding and life is life and people are peopling, right? Like, I want to rest. I want to rest too. Trust me, that is on my agenda for the next 365. The year of the fire horse is, yeah, rest, recuperation, rejuvenation, and some big things, right? Some big things. So if you are struggling out there trying to figure out, I don't even know what I can have, then you start there. You start there. As I said, I've been doing a ton of reading because that's what I do. It's kind of where I get a lot of information. I like to read. I've been reading since I was, I have to tell my funny story about how I got busted reading my first Stephen King novel. That's a whole nother story for another day. Or maybe I'll tell it here. But one of the things that I've been reading about is the energy of the year of the fire horse. And oh yes. Oh, hang on. That's why I said if you have followed my channel at all, um, I am not apolitical. I'm very clear that I am not apolitical. And this sweatshirt, bought it during the campaign, wear it all the time, wear it when I go work out, wear it out in public. So yeah, I shrink away from nothing. But I just, I keep a little space bubble around Tuesday tea break. But you caught me post workout. So I got my hair swallows on. Um, I had my honk for Harris Way. See, I'm not taking it. I bought the sweatshirt so that I could always remember, and and so that I would always have something that I could wear because I like sweatshirts. And I stay cold all the time. Okay, so where was I going with this? Oh, so the year of the horse. Okay, so one of the things that I've been reading about that I think really affects our conversation about planning and so what next and so now what and what am I supposed to do and do I get a chance to dream is that energy comes in waves, right? And this year is going to be taxing. So for as high of a ride as the year is going to be, it's also going to be very taxing and overwhelming, right? It's already started out overwhelming. And I even said in my post, the year starts and ends with a bang. right? It starts with a bang and it ends with a bang. So this is going to be a year. But unlike the snake last year, which was also one of those years, unlike the snake energy of 2025, the fire horse is going to allow us to ride through some things a little more efficiently and effectively. And that's why I want you to pay attention to what you want to lean into so that when the days pop up where you feel like, oh, I've got a ton of energy today, or I feel very clear today about X, Y, and Z, that you are ready to act on that. Because so much of 2025, I felt like a haze had just dropped over everything. Because when a snake's shedding its skin, it can't see very well, right? When a snake is being constricted in its skin, trying to get through some things, it can't really see very well. It has to go by feel. You don't have to go by feel now. I want you to make some plans. I want you to keep planning and to tweak your plans and ask yourself in 365 days, where do I intend to be? And then backtrack to the steps that are going to get you there. I don't believe in panicking, and I even have said don't panic. But so many people are planning their panic and not planning their dream, because a dream is just, a plan that needs some steps. That's all. A dream is just the plan that needs the steps. Once you have the steps, it's no longer a dream because you're working the plan until you get to the end, right? So, since the dream is just a plan that needs some steps, now is the time to make some plans and put some steps in place. So, what are you thinking about? What are you going to do? How do you want to feel? Where do you want to be? I am team go where you want to be. Where do you go? How do you want to lean towards your joy? How do you want to bring your community together? How do you want to show up for yourself? Like, so many great possibilities are going to be on the table in the midst of that other stuff that we're not talking about right now. But so many possibilities are going to be on your table. And I just want you to feel like you've got a handle on how you're going to handle them. Because in the times that are going to be challenging, knowing that you are still working your plan and that you even have a plan to work can make the difference between your mental health being good that day and bad that day, right? Because it's hard to be in survival mode when you're not sure what you're surviving for, when you can't see, right? You can't see necessarily the possibilities out there. But if you start with possibilities already listed for yourself, written down, broken down into chunked down into manageable bites that you can eat. Then when you're in survival mode for a day or a week or even a month, we know how it is, y'all. It's easier to survive when you can still see the progress of the plan. Even if the progress is minuscule, even if it's just teeny tiny step that day, you still can see, okay, I'm still getting towards that goal, even though today I'm just trying to keep my head above water. That's it, right? That's what the energy of this moment is about. Is making the plan so that the days when you're not sure if you're going to do anything more than treading water, you can tread water. You can tread water because your plan are the little water wings that you're wearing to help you keep your head above water until you're ready to start swimming again. And this is a great time of year to do that. I'm so excited for the year of the fire horse. I could talk for hours and hours about energy and systems and putting things in play, but it's really important to keep you on a path where you feel like you can get to where you want to be, which is the next best chapter of our lives. This moment isn't forever. That is the glorious thing about moments. They don't last. For good, for ill, they don't last. They keep right on going. So, since this one is going to go at some point, we got to be ready for the next one. And I don't know about you, but I'd like the next one to look a lot different than the one that we're currently standing in. So, I'm going to do my part for me. Um, ooh, when is the job ending? When are you retire? Is this retirement? Is this early retirement? Because I'm team early retirement if you can. Definitely early retirement if you can. Um, but a deep breath before big decisions is always a good idea. Oh, April, look at you. I'm so excited for you. This is wonderful. A deep breath before any big decisions is crucial. A huge, a huge breath. One that clears not only the cobwebs, because sometimes we need to blow some air through. You know how you tend to vent a house in winter because even though it's cold outside and it might even be snowing and winter's doing its thing, sometimes houses need to breathe. Not sometimes, houses literally need to breathe. And when they don't breathe, we get sick because our houses hold everything. Same with and so our physical house and our body, our physiological body, and our mental house all have the same need. They all need to breathe. So taking that deep breath, opening up yourself to clearing out, the old energy before you decide what to do next, that's pretty good. They are closing. I'm sorry to hear that. If I'm sorry to hear that if that is not what if that doesn't give you a sense of like you're not leaving because you wanted to, and that's unfortunate. And I am sorry to hear that. Hopefully everyone finds their next, I won't say best path, but the next path that takes them to where they want to go. Because I've lost, I mean, I've lost a job or two, so I can understand that pause before the next thing. I've been there many a time. Hopefully, you've got some time to not have to rush to the next thing. And you get the chance to breathe a little bit because breathing in that is so important. Being allowed a moment, being allowed a beat, right? Being allowed a beat. So I really want, as we flow into the rest of this week, especially the rest of this month, we're into March now. Spring is coming, right? The first day of spring is on the horizon. We can see it. It is coming down the turnpike, if you've ever driven down a turnpike. Um, I'm thinking about what I want to do next versus what I need to do. And that is exactly where you should be. In fact, if you haven't downloaded the Magical 7, um don't tempt me. If you haven't downloaded the Magical 7 or if you haven't looked at your big rocks lately, this is a great time to assess, you know, what do I need to be doing? Because I'm not gonna pull it out. Because I talk about the Venn diagram of where we have to be, where we need to be, and where we want to be all the time. In the sweet spot in the middle that allows us to be who we are. And I think you should go to Hawaii. I think you should think about if the big rocks that have been sustaining the life that you currently live still need to sustain the life that you currently live, or if you even want to keep this version of it, or if it's time to think about something new, something different, something better. I mean, your life is good, but we always are talking about the next best chapter, right? So I'm excited for you. I'm intrigued for you and I'm excited for you, and we should talk more. We should definitely talk more. All right. We're almost into spring. I want to leave you with this idea. So the spring equinox is coming, vernal equinox here in the northern hemisphere, and the autumnal equinox in the southern hemisphere. I have to like flip my brain around. Whatever equal day and night you find yourself in as you slide into the next season, it's coming. It's March. It's coming. The world is starting to shift and wobble. It's doing the worldly wobble to get us back to being the closest part to the sun as it moves the southern hemisphere off to being not the closest part to the sun. So as this happens and the days start to get longer and the days start to get longer and the days start to get longer and your energy starts to get a little more solid, a little more stable, because winter energy feels very dark for a reason. We're supposed to slow down. We're supposed to hibernate. We're supposed to pull back and let the night heal. Oh, don't remind me about that time change. Oh, listen. If we don't do it with daylight savings, what was it all for? What was it all for? Um, But as we come, so I don't, let's see, what day is the, just a minute. Let's 20, what is it this year? The 20th. So I had to dig out my planner. As y'all know, I went paper planner Ludat this year, and given everything that's happening with AI and Anthropic and Chat GPT and that stuff outside of our bubble, I'm really glad that I write my life down again. Really glad that I write my life down again. So the 20th, March 20th is coming. I want you to make a promise and a plan to have your first 3 months of the Lunar New Year, so technically March, April, May, um, sketched out to what you want to be doing and achieving by the end of the first quarter. So by the end of May, where do you want to see yourself? Because that may be all you can think about right now, because again, life is life and world is whirling. But if you have a goal of March 20th, so 17 days from now, to have sketched out, here is the one big goal for this quarter that I intend to have done. Not, no, scratch that. Here's the one big goal for this quarter that I will complete. Period. Not I intend to complete it, but that I will complete. And then work backwards to the steps that you can take each week to get there. I think you'll start to shift the energy to the heaviness of winter into the spring. And then if you find, oh, that was good. Like that was good and it was easier than I thought it would be, then do the next 3 months. You don't have to wait on me to tell you. But I am saying that if you can have it done by the energy of the March 20th date, which is the day of equal day and equal night, then boom, you can just be like, I'm already working this spring energy. I'm already planting my harvest. I'm already putting my seeds in the ground. I'm already tilling up the soil and getting ready, right? We're going to be planting potatoes next weekend, even though it's supposed to snow again. Let's not talk about it. But we're going to start planting because we need to get ready for summer's growing season. So we're going to get ready for summer's growing season, and our first deadline is March 20th. So I'm going to hold you to it. You're going to see me posting about it. And if you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing, guess what? I'm holding another webinar. It's coming. I know, I know, I know. But I needed some time to myself. As I said, winter should be a time that we slow down, we reflect, introspect, and we rest. And I practice what I preach. And so, therefore, now that spring is here, it's time for us to get moving and get cracking. I'm going paper planner too. I love my paper planner. I have a little pen. I have this. So this is small. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted when I decided to go back to the paper planner. So I thought I'm just gonna get a little one. I'll probably still use my phone for a lot of things. I mean, I'm writing all over it. I've got notes on things. I write in the margins. And I remembered how much I loved having something to write with all the time to keep track of the many thoughts in my head. And this one fits in my purse, which is nice. But it was it was kind of a weird feeling when I first cracked it open on January 1st. I'm like, am I really going to use this thing? And here we are in March, and I mean, if you could go back through and see all the things that I've written in the past just 2 months, it was the best thing that I think I've done in a long time. To disconnect from having everything online allows me to not have to have everything online. Like no notifications dinging at me all the time for things that I might have missed. I just check the calendar. And because I carry it with me, people are like, is that a cal? I mean, one woman literally said, do you have a calendar? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's got pockets for receipts, which is good because I tend to sometimes need to get receipts for business expenses. But this one is just a little one. It's just bloom and grow. That's it. I like flowers. I like gardening. This was perfect. But I don't think I'm ever going to go back because I really love having my life more compartmentalized and not a steady stream of electronic data all the time. Are you planting? I am planting actual potatoes. We have a garden at my father's house. We've turned his entire backyard into a garden. We plant potatoes and corn and squash and peppers and carrots and sunflowers and a few other things. We've been experimenting for a couple of years now. What works, what doesn't, our climate, our sun. We've moved some things around. Potatoes grow really well here. And in fact, potatoes grow really well everywhere. If you have a, a, um, a back porch or a patio and a bag of dirt, you can grow potatoes. If nothing else, grow some potatoes this year. You'll be amazed and you'll love the fact that you did that. You'll love it. It's just, they're one of the easiest things to grow. Cut them up, get the little eye going, right? Sprouting the eye, the little eye on the potato. Cut them up, stick them in the dirt, eye side up, cover them, make sure they get some water every now and then. Leave them alone. When you see the stalk and the pretty green plant, leave them alone. When you see the beautiful white flowers, leave them alone. When that stalk starts to die, you got a potato. Easy, easy peasy. So anybody can do it. I love potatoes, and we eat a ton of potatoes, so that helps. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in, Michelle. Thank you for tuning in for the eyes that I saw pop up but didn't say hello, hello. And if you catch us on the replay, make the commitment. Drop us a note and tell us that you're going to make a plan for at least the first quarter of the Lunar New Year. Where do you see yourself at the end of May? Do you think you can get your plan done by March 20th and start working that plan? Because now is not the time to panic. Now is the time to work it. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. And as always, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Have a good one. See you Thursday. Bye. Bye, Michelle.